Good morning, everyone. We are the group 4 and we will be discussing the Persian literature. So, what is a Persian literature? A Persian literature refers to the body of literary works written in the Persian language, also called Farsi, one of the world's oldest literary traditions, and it spans over 1,000 years, beginning in the early Islamic period around the 9th century and continuing to the present day. Now we have three major periods of Persian literature, and they are classical Persian literature, which is 9th to 15th centuries, post-classical and Safavid period, 16th to 18th centuries. We also have modern Persian literature, 19th century until to present.
Good morning, everyone. My topic this morning is all about the characteristics of a Persian literature. The first characteristic is poetic dominance. When we say poetic dominance, it's the powerful impact of poetry on culture, society, and individual perspectives. Persian literature is overwhelmingly poetic in nature. Even historical, philosophical, and mystical works were often written in verse. This means that Persian literature's poetic dominance reflects the rich cultural heritage and historical significance of poetry in Persian culture. The next one is heroism and epic tradition. Epic poetry glorifies heroes, kings, and national pride. Heroism and epic tradition are exemplified in works like the Shahnameh, showcasing courageous heroes and legendary stories that reflects Persian's cultural values.
So next, I will be discussing the philosophy and ethics. So Persian prose and poetry often include moral teachings, wisdom tales, and ethical reflections. So, many Persian literary works, both in poetry and prose, serve as vehicles for ethical instruction, guiding readers in how to live a moral and virtuous life. The next one would be the Islamic and pre-Islamic ethics. Islamic and pre-Islamic influences often reflects perspectives discussing concepts like the existence of God's nature of knowledge.
Okay, now let's move on to the two major forms, which are the Persian poetry and Persian prose. Let us first discuss what is Persian poetry. So, Persian poetry is the dominant form in Persian literature. It's known for its rhythm, rhyme, symbolism, and beauty of expression. While Persian prose, it refers to non-poetic writing. While less famous than poetry, Persian prose is still highly artistic, often rhythmic and ornate, especially in classical times. So we have here the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. He is a Persian poet, mathematician, astronomer, and philosopher. While he was more famous in his works, Time for Science, his poetry became globally renowned centuries later, especially after being translated in English. So here are some examples of the themes of his works. First, we have the fleeting nature of life, mortality and passage of time, joy, wine, and love as responses to life's uncertainty. Lastly, we have the skepticism about faith, religion, and destiny. So, the Rubaiyat became globally renowned or famous after the 1859 English translation by Edward Fitzgerald, which introduced somewhat romanticized and mystical versions of Khayyam's ideas to the West. It was hugely influential in his both literature and philosophy. So that would be all. We hope that you've learned something from our report. Thank you.
So, good morning, everyone. So, in continuation, I'll be discussing the examples of a Persian poetry. Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a Persian poet, mathematician, astronomer, and a philosopher. While he was more famous in his time for science, his poetry became globally renowned centuries later, especially after being translated into English. Now, these are the themes of the Rubaiyat. We have here the fleeting nature of life, mortality and the passage of time, joy and wine, loves as responses to life's uncertainty, skepticism about faith, religion, and destiny. Now let's move to the famous rubai of a Persian literature. So we have here the example of um, Persian literature, and the other one is the translation, which it turns to English. So let me read this for you guys. This day jog once like me was love, dumb, and wild, enchained by the hair of a beautiful child. The handle you see at its neck was the arm of someone wrapped around lover and smiled. So, meaning the speaker reflects on how even the objects we use, like clay cup, may have once been a human, a poetic meditation on death, transformation, and the ephemeral nature of life. So this is all my report. Thank you.
Another example of Persian poetry is the Shahnameh, an epic by Ferdowsi. Ferdowsi's Shahnameh is a sweeping Persian epic that traces the mythical and historical roots of Iran from the dawn of creation to the 7th century Arab conquest. Rich with tales of legendary kings, warriors, and ancient dynasties, it celebrates iconic figures like Rostam and explores timeless themes such as justice, pride, loyalty, and faith. The narrative weaves together fantastical battles with dragons and demons, profound moral reflections, and heroic sagas that rival the likes of Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. Beyond its storytelling, the Shahnameh serves as a powerful act of cultural preservation. Composed during a time of foreign influence, it proudly revives pre-Islamic Persian language, Zoroastrian values, and national identity. Ferdowsi's work not only entertained but defended Persian heritage, becoming a cornerstone of Iran's literary and historical consciousness. It's an epic not just in scale, but in purpose.
So, okay, now let's proceed to the global influence. The Rubaiyat became globally famous after the 1859 English translation by Edward Fitzgerald, which introduced a somewhat romanticized and mystical version of Khayyam's ideas to the West. It was hugely influential in both literature and philosophy. The global influence highlights how the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam gained international recognition. The 1859 the English translation by Edward Fitzgerald played a key role by popularizing the work in the West. His version was not literally translation, but rather a poetic and mystical interpretation of Khayyam's verses. The Rubaiyat approach captivated Western audiences, influencing literature and philosophy and introducing Persian through a wider global audience. Thank you.
And now let's proceed on our conclusion. Persian literature is a vast and influential tradition that spans over 1,000 years, known for its richness and diversity, and significant impact on global literature culture. It has played a central role in shaping the cultural identities of Iran and the broader Persian-speaking world, while also influencing other literacy traditions in Central Asia, South Asia, and Middle East. In summary, Persian literature is a monumental achievement, blending artistic beauty, intellectual depth, and spiritual insight. Its enduring influences continue to shape not only Persian-speaking cultures but also the wider literary world, offering timeless reflections on love, philosophy, and the human condition.